We've learned before how the law of diminishing marginal returns can be applied to production activities. However, this law is more relevant to short-run production since fixed factors only exist in the short run. In the long run, firms can increase or decrease all factors of production when they want to change their scale of production, and thus, the law of diminishing marginal returns does not apply. Then, does something like the best scale of production exist? We'll explore the relationship between scale of production and cost this time. In the long run, firms can increase their scale of production by increasing the volume of variable factors. In this way, they can enjoy a number of benefits which can lower the long-run average production cost. We call this economies of scale in economics. Economies of scale can be divided into internal economies of scale and external economies of scale. Internal economies of scale are about the benefits brought by the expansion of the firm itself. For example, when a firm hires more employees to implement a higher degree of division of labor, it can raise the productivity so that the average cost can be lower. On the other hand, external economies of scale are the advantages brought by the expansion of the industry as a whole. Assume there were only a few boutiques in a mall before. After an expansion of the industry, more than 10 new boutiques opened in the same place. This allows the boutiques to share the wholesaling services and transportation costs together, so the average production cost could become lower. Generally speaking, firms usually enjoy economies of scale in the early stage of production. When the scale of production becomes greater and greater, firms may suffer some drawbacks and an increase in long-run average cost. This phenomenon is known as diseconomies of scale. Similar to the case of economies of scale, there are also internal and external diseconomies of scale. For example, when a firm hires too many workers, it may result in redundancy. This causes delays, instead of improvements, in the production process, and so the average cost will become higher. This is how internal diseconomies of scale occur. For the external diseconomies, if an industry undergoes overexpansion, the firms within that industry may face excessive competition that makes extra spending on advertisement necessary. This undoubtedly would cause an increase in average cost of production. We have to remember that we use average cost, but not average output or marginal output, to measure the scale of production in the long run. Let's look at the following example to better understand the concept of economies of scale. Assume the firm hires workers and uses machines for its production. Since both factors are variable, we are, in fact, looking at its long-run production. The volume of production increases along with the factors of production, but the average cost changes according to the scale of production. In the very beginning, the firm can enjoy the advantages from economies of scale, causing decreases in average cost. When the volume of output reaches 300, the average cost reaches the lowest point. We call this point, where the average cost is the lowest, the optimal scale. And when volume of output is beyond 300, the firm needs to bear diseconomies of scale and increases in average cost. If we represent the case with a curve, we'll see a U-shaped average cost curve.